Who is Nolan? Who is Omni-Man really? Man, after watching this episode, I realized Omni-Man is way more complex of a character than I originally thought. I thought I had him figured out, especially after my episode 4 video. But I don't know, I just don't understand. It seems like it's contradiction, like, you know what I'm saying? It seems like his actions is just contradicting each other. Because look back in season 1, especially so when we killed all the Guardians, and then the end of the season when he fought Mark and everything and told him the truth about everything. I know that he like left and didn't end up killing Mark or end up reporting back to the Viltrumites, but still, I'm assuming he's a little bit conflicted. I think that's the case. He's probably conflicted between rebelling against the Viltrumites or going against his son. Well, sons now. But the thing is too, it's hard to say because we learned that in this episode, the books that Nolan was writing was subtly hinting how to defeat a Viltrumite and showcasing their weaknesses. So like even if he was conflicted when Mark decided not to work with him and conquer Earth, I'm curious to know why he decided to write these books as while Mark was growing up, I'm assuming, if he wasn't planning to rebel against the Viltrumites in the first place. I don't know, it's just hard to like connect the dots on the actions Omni-Man been doing. So you let me know what you think about like his books and his books actually being basically the blueprint of how to stop a Viltrumite. Like what caused him to write those books back then? That's what I'm curious about, because that's probably going to explain a lot. Maybe a Viltrumite visited his home years ago and he threatened to like kill Mark if he doesn't start moving forward with his mission. And then maybe Omni-Man was like, oh well, let my son grow up first, like let my son become a Viltrumite. Like I believe that my son will become like a full-blooded Viltrumite and gain power soon. So maybe that was his promise to them when he was confronted years back, and maybe the anger of them threatening to kill Mark years ago is probably what caused him to write these books, potentially. That's my theory. That's kind of like my prediction of what happened. But at the same time, it seems like it can't be right, because this at the same time it seems like it was the first time they knew that Nolan had a Earth son in his existence when they first saw Mark back in episode 4, which I think they didn't know. I have to look back. I'm not really too sure if they didn't know that he had a son on Earth, but that's really my only theory or my only prediction that could really connect the dots of what Omni-Man is thinking and what his objective is. Is he going against the Viltrumites or is he with them? Like he gotta choose a side, you know what I'm saying, sooner than later. And it looks like he's gonna get plenty of time too, because I know you heard what they said.
In order for a Viltrumite to be executed, he must be healed and whole.
They're making up all types of conditions, all of that BS just to keep him alive. So I know Omni-Man's not dying anytime soon. I think they even give him a chance to like come back and join the, I guess, the elite squad or whatever. So I wonder what his plan is right now or what's going through his head. I mean, the last words he said was to read my books, which means, okay, I guess I'm assuming right now he's like fully converted, like he's fully against Viltrumites, like he's rebelling now if he's telling Mark to read his books. It's either that or he's telling Mark to read his books because he knows Mark is against the Viltrumites and he loves his son. So he's doing it out of love for his son and wanting his son to live and be safe. One or the other. But as the episodes goes on, we'll learn more information. Well, unless you read the comics, of course. But as someone who's only watching the show, it's very interesting to think about with Omni-Man and his complexity of his mind and learning the actions he did in his past and how is it affecting the future. And it's actually another question I have before I move on is I wonder if Omni-Man, Nolan, if he knows the rebel that's with Alan. I wonder if they know each other some way, somehow, because maybe that could connect a couple of dots as well. Okay, Amber and Mark's relationship. I mean, who expected less? Of course he was gonna have problems. Of course he ain't gonna have time to build a relationship together. Like he has his brother to deal with, college, preparing for Viltrumites, a whole bunch of responsibilities that is like plaguing his mind fine. And yet what's stressing him out the most is his relationship. It's crazy. It's crazy how more than the world might potentially end tomorrow with Viltrumites invading, or like making sure his brother like grows up well. And I mean, he is with his mother, but like despite all of that, what's stressing him out the most is his relationship with his girlfriend, which it makes sense when you're 18 years old. But here's the crazy part: even though Amber is stressed out and like wants to spend more time with Mark and everything, and understands his responsibilities as a superhero and all that, what she said when Mark was like, oh, sometimes I wish I didn't have powers.
But you do have powers. And that means you have an obligation to make the world a better place. And if you didn't feel that way, we wouldn't be dating to begin with.
Like, that's crazy. We wouldn't be dating to begin with. That's wild. That's a wild statement. Like, she violated him right there. She's like, man, if you wasn't the protagonist, I wouldn't be with you. For real. You got nothing. You said your personality is you having powers, for real. That's, I don't know. I don't know how Mark should feel about that. He let that slide, but I don't know. If my girlfriend said something like that, I might have felt some type of way. Like, are you really here for me? Or are you here for the clout, for my powers, for the fame, for all of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's tough. But on a serious note, this kind of had me thinking about something that, if you watch anime or if you watch My Hero Academia, something that Shigaraki said in season 6 when he had his speech about heroes and what they had to sacrifice that ends up ruining their families. So I just remembered that I did a community post about it like a year ago when I was first watching My Hero and reacting to the episodes, and it went like this: you people, heroes, in order to save strangers they don't even know, heroes will hurt their families. And that's just a fact, man. That's the fact of being a hero. Simply put, it's basically a requirement. Like, you have to sacrifice people who know you in order to save strangers that don't even know who you are. That's like a dark truth right there, and that is so relevant right now currently with Invincible, but it's basically relevant for like every superhero show, especially with relationships and family and all that. It's always going to be an issue no matter what. I don't think of a healthy relationship in a superhero show unless both of them are heroes together. Other than that, like, tell me a superhero show when there's no relationship issues and one of them is just regular and the other one's the hero. I'll wait. Let me know in the comments. Okay, last but not least, how the hell did this guy like survive a gunshot wound to the head? Like, I don't understand. It literally makes no sense. How did he do it? I'm literally seeing plot armor forming in real time, and they just brushed past it like there was no explanation. Like, is he human? Like, I'm wondering, is he human? Like, I know it's possible to survive a shot to the head, but like, he was already bleeding crazy with his hand like basically gone, and basically bleeding from his chest and his back and everywhere. Like, he was already like losing a ton of blood, and he was able to get up from unconsciousness and like beat this dude's ass. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, high key is lazy writing, but I guess no one cares, right? Let's be real. Anyways, what do you guys think about this episode? You let me know your predictions. Like, what are your thoughts on Nolan? Why do you think he wrote those stories about how to fight the Viltrumites? I guess also write down in the comments like your best explanation of what you think Nolan is, or like who he is as a person. Also share your thoughts about Amber and Mark's relationship and what I stated before about like it's just bound to happen. It just comes with being a superhero. You let me know on that part. Other than that, let's have a discussion in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.